Hello EFD squad and welcome back to World Cup Review. It's coming up to the final week of the tournament now, and to celebrate, we've ditched Chris Hamill, we've brought in Michael McCubbin for some primo analysis, and to be honest, we're not going to start with a surprise. We're going to start exactly where you expect us to, with England.
Yes, with England, yes. Come on, the boys. I've heard it could be coming home now. Into the last four. For only the third time in their history, obviously the first time since 1990. And afterwards, Sweden manager Jan Andersson said that England are absolutely good enough to win the World Cup.
That's nice.
And you know what, based on the performance on Saturday, I'm inclined to agree. Probably the most dominant England knockout performance that I can remember. 58% possession, 12 shots to 6, only 2 on target, but both went in. And this is actually quite indicative of England's form at this World Cup. 10 of their last 13 shots on target have all found the net, which is pretty amazing. And obviously another sign of how dangerous the Three Lions are from set pieces. They've now scored 11 goals at this World Cup, equaling the personal best they set all the way back in 1966. And they potentially have 2 games to go. Well, they definitely have 2 games to go, even if they lose. And they've also become the first team since Portugal in that same World Cup, 1966, to score 8 goals from set pieces at a World Cup. What? So they're breaking records left, right, and centre here. And yeah, I thought it was a really complete performance personally from a lot of the players. I thought, most cohesive I've seen us play at this World Cup. But Pat, is there anyone who stood out for you?
Yeah, well, before I get into the people I've got on my sheet here, I think that we could have a little chat about Raheem Sterling because it's kind of been blowing up recently. He's been getting a lot of criticism. Obviously, the last 5 minutes of the first half in this game went through twice. Neither time did he score, and you could argue the second time he should pull it back for Kane rather than shooting himself. Do you think that this criticism of him has been fair?
No, I think the performance on Saturday, I think we could probably agree he was probably our most dangerous attacking outlet. Caused the Sweden defence so many problems. And of course, he definitely should have scored in the first half, but that came at the end of a move where he nearly took it around the keeper. The touch to bring it down was so beautiful. It was just that final end product which wasn't there. And that, he can take criticism for that for sure. You deserve to take criticism for not putting away your chances. But I think in general in the World Cup he's been chastised a bit too much. I think even when he's not been playing great, which I'd agree, he's not had the best World Cup. He's definitely not hit the form that we've seen for him at City. But we are still a better team with him on the pitch. I think in the first Tunisia game when Marcus Rashford came on for him, we started to look a lot more disjointed, didn't look anywhere near as dangerous going forward. And again against Colombia when he came off for, can't remember who he came off for in the Colombia game, but again that was arguably when we were at our weakest in the whole match. It was good to see people like Gary Neville calling out the social media response. I think he labelled it absolutely disgusting, which I think in some circles it has been. What do you reckon, Pato?
No, I completely agree with everything you said. I agree that he hasn't had his best tournament, but he's still been by far one of England's most effective players. And it reminds me of the Euros, Like in that Iceland game, I remember afterwards, he got the lowest rating, I think, of anybody, from the papers for his performance. He was the guy who won the penalty, which led to England's goal. It just seems absolutely bizarre to me. And if he's playing a bit deeper in this tournament, I think it's because there's no De Bruyne, there's no David Silva. When you don't have those guys who are knitting it all together in the number 10 role, then Sterling's going to have to drop deeper and be the creator, and that's not quite his natural game. I think there are chances he gets that nobody else would get. It kind of reminds me actually of somebody like Giroud. Like there are times when Giroud will get to a header that nobody else would get to, but it doesn't go in. And people say, well, he should bury that. And I think it's hard to criticise a player when you think, if it weren't for this unique skill set this player has, it wouldn't have been a chance in the first place. But Dele Alli, he's also got kind of quite a lot of criticism in the tournament. Again, I think probably suffering from not having a Christian Eriksen alongside him. He got a goal in this game finally. It makes him the second youngest English scorer at a World Cup, though 4 years older than Michael Owen was in 1998. Just an indication of how young Owen was, a year younger than Kylian Mbappe is now. Absolutely insane. Jordan Pickford as well. 24 years old and 122 days, becomes the youngest ever England keeper to keep a World Cup clean sheet, made 3 saves. And my God, I mean, the one diving to his left to save the header early on in the second half, which could have changed the whole complexion of the game, was absolutely fantastic. Harry Maguire ended up being man of the match on his 10th England appearance. He got his first international goal. He won 10 aerial duels, which is 4 more than anyone else on the pitch with an 83% success rate. Lingard as well, as the game went on, as it got a bit more stretched, he was able to find more space. And I thought he was really good in the second half at taking the pressure off the defence by getting yards up the field. He completed all 4 of his attempted dribbles, completed 93% of his passes, and of course got that absolutely sensational assist for Dele Alli's goal. First time cross to the back stick. England have now set up a semi-final with Croatia, Croatia's second semi-final since 1998, which was their first appearance at the tournament. And of course, if they win that, it'll be their very first final since 1966. Now, interestingly enough, if they were to beat Croatia and then meet Belgium in the final, they'd become the first ever world champions to have not met a previous winner on their way to victory. So they have had a slightly fortunate run. I think we can all agree. I think that loss to Belgium in the last round of the group stage is looking more and more like a stroke of fortune. But I don't know. Do you believe the Cubs? Do you actually think they'll win the World Cup?
I actually am starting to believe now. Like, I feel like we had the results before, not quite the performances. Now, after seeing that Sweden game, I think we can probably beat anyone.
Nice. I just want to melt football down and inject it into my veins, like Ross Kemp has been doing. Straight in.
What a man.
Enormous testicle.
So our first loser is a bit of a surprising one. It's Brazil. Many people's tip for the tournament. I know they were mine before the tournament started, and we were only discussing on Continental Club on Friday that how we all thought they would have been the best team, and whatnot. What went wrong, Pato?
Well, we kind of thought that Belgium was a great matchup for Brazil. It's a team who are going to come out at you and can't really defend, but they just burned them in the first half. Belgium went 2 goals up thanks to a Fernandinho OG and then an absolute wonder strike from Kevin De Bruyne. And though Brazil rallied in the second half, scored a goal through Renato Augusto, it was just simply too much for them. They were behind in the 13th minute. It was a Chadley corner that led to that Fernandinho own goal. And then Romelu Lukaku went on an absolutely insane run, burst through the heart of the midfield. Nobody could bring him down. People were there with bows and arrows trying to bring him down. Lays it off to De Bruyne, and De Bruyne scores. I mean, he puts it so far in the corner. An absolutely brilliant goal. Brazil overall, probably you'd expect them to win this if it was played again. They're a little bit unlucky. They had 58% of the ball, 27 shots with 9 on target, whereas Belgium had 9 shots total. They only had 1 more shot on target after the second goal. Courtois was in sensational form. I mean, Gabby Jesus should have had a penalty when he absolutely roasted. Was it Vertonghen and then Company, and then he got brought down. But I don't know, it just seemed, for some reason, it just wouldn't fall for Brazil. I thought they were clearly the better side in this game. I thought they've been clearly the best side in the tournament. But now they've been eliminated by European opposition in the last 4 World Cups.
Wow.
Obviously Germany last time, the Netherlands before that, and France before that. This was only the first time in 30 matches in which Brazil have conceded more than 1 goal. That is absolutely bananas.
Yeah, that's crazy.
To come through CONMEBOL qualifying as well, which is so difficult, then get to the World Cup and kind of fall to Bobby Martinez's Belgium. Anyway, Belgium go to a semi-final for the first time since 1986 when they lost to Argentina. And of course, it's all European teams left in it.
First time since 2006, right? I think
it is the first time since 2006, according to my sheet.
Yeah. And apparently, I was thinking when you were going through the teams who Brazil have lost to in the last 3 World Cups, they all ended up making the final. Obviously, Germany in the semis, but they were knocked out by the Netherlands, I think, in the quarters as well, and then France in the quarters in 2006. So it's a good omen for Belgium. According to that, they will make the final, but obviously have a very tough test against France, who we'll talk about in a bit. But one negative for the Belgians is the fact that Thomas Meunier will be missing out on the semi-final after receiving another booking against the Seleção. He's had a really superb tournament, played 4 full games, and provided 2 assists in that time from right back, especially when he was playing at right wing back. I thought in the previous system, he was always causing defences problems, loves to cut in. Yeah, all credit to Bobby Martinez, to be fair. Obviously, we've been writing him off for some time now. But he made the right decision in this game. He played Chadley and Fellaini from the start to reward them for their contributions to the win over Japan. And he changed the system to a narrow 4-3-3 to limit the space and played Lukaku off the right-hand side. Obviously, De Bruyne playing a lot of the game in the middle as well. A much, much more dynamic forward line, I think. And it's so good to see De Bruyne able to play able to express himself basically,
which
we haven't seen. Belgium are now unbeaten in 24 games since Bobby Martinez's first game against Spain in September 2016. And despite some superb individual displays, it has been a team effort at this World Cup. 9 separate players have got on the score sheet, that's excluding OGs. Only France in 1982 and Italy in 2006 have had more in a single tournament.
That's
10.
crazy.
So there is, I guess there is scope for them to even beat that. But I'm trying to think who hasn't scored for them.
Has Company scored?
I guess not, no. So
Vinny Company, winning goal, World Cup final.
Play him up front against France.
Oh, that'd be filth.
But back to the individuals though, because Romelu Lukaku, obviously we spoke about that fantastic assist for the De Bruyne goal. He has now been involved in 20 goals in his last 13 games for the Red Devils. Not Man United, Belgium.
That's mental.
Crazy, 17 goals and 3 assists. He is on absolute fire, absolute fire. And also credit to Fellaini. He kept Neymar reasonably quiet. He made 3 tackles, 2 interceptions, and won 7 aerial duels. You know, almost Harry Maguire standard, not quite, but you know, you're getting there. And Eden Hazard also solid again. 2 shots, 9 dribbles, and weirdly enough as well, 4 aerial duels he won. So
what's going on?
A real battling performance.
They really want to win the World Cup.
Yeah, they do,
they really
clearly.
do.
But despite all of that, man of the match probably has to go to Courtois. His fingertip save from Neymar in the 3rd minute of injury time, probably the highlight of a performance that included 9 saves.
Jesus.
So a really good evening at the office for Thibaut. But who do you think will win that semi-final, Belgium or France? Let us know in the poll up there.
What do you reckon? One word.
France.
Yeah, me too. So we move on to our second winners of the week. Now, McCubbin and I have tipped them to make it through to the final, but how did France make it to the semi?
Well, they beat Uruguay 2-0, meaning they reached their first World Cup semi-final since 2006 and their 6th in total. They've only actually progressed to the final twice, though, in 98 and 2006, obviously. So that means that they actually have lost more semis than they've won. I'm thinking 1982, obviously Battiston getting pummeled by Schumacher, and 86 as well, were you saying?
I think
before?
86, yeah.
So clearly, that was a golden era for France, and this is looking like a bit of a golden era as well. I mean, we were just saying as well, was it three finals in the last 6 World Cups?
Yeah, if they make it through to the final, this will be their 3rd final since 1998, which is pretty amazing, really.
And especially considering they've gone out in the groups twice in that time as well. So they really are the definition of hot and cold. But anyway, back to the game. Antoine Griezmann, once again, a big figure in the match, provided the assist for Varane's headed goal and was on the score sheet himself to put the game to bed, although it was thanks to goalkeeper Muslera's horrific error. Memories of Loris Karius in the Champions League final with that one. But it means France remain unbeaten in games that Griezmann has scored in, won 18 and drawn 2. What a record that is. And he was very ruthless in this match, despite despite his love for Uruguay and Godin being the godfather to his child.
That's mental.
He put aside all those convictions to put the Uruguayans to bed. But anyway, he has now scored 7 goals in his last 6 major tournament knockout games, obviously going back to the Euros where he was the top scorer. And this also continues another remarkable run of form for Les Bleus. They are now unbeaten against South American opposition in World Cup finals since 1978.
That's crazy.
When they lost to Argentina, who won the World Cup that year. How crazy is that? That's 6 wins and 4 draws. So that's a 10-game unbeaten run against South American opposition.
Wow.
And they've played the likes of Brazil at least twice in that time. Very, very impressive stuff. Although, despite their win yesterday, they're still not creating a huge amounts of chances. They were very efficient. They've scored with their last 6 shots on target. So, been very efficient this World Cup. Pat, how do they do in the game in general?
Well, I think it was quite like England with Sweden, right? I mean, Uruguay are at a higher level than Sweden. But France kind of knew that if they got the first goal, the game would get a lot easier. And that Varane header from a Griezmann assist obviously meant that they didn't really have to push on to try and create chances quite as much. Uruguay have been really difficult to break down in this tournament, but have not been so potent at the other end. And so France were able to dominate possession, had 61%. Uruguay got off 11 shots from 8 different players, but weren't able to make a breakthrough. Luis Suarez was kind of isolated, 64% pass accuracy, completed 1 dribble, didn't have a single shot or a touch in the opposition box. And so without Cavani there, he was trying to do so much, and I don't really blame him. He just didn't really have the support. Varane, immense on the day. 7 aerial duels won, 2 shots at a goal, incredible. But Griezmann has to be man of the match. 2 dribbles completed, 2 shots, 1 goal, a little bit lucky, but still, and a massive 5 tackles.
Wow. I mean, defending from the front.
This is the thing about this France side. They have the capability to be the best attacking side in the world with the talent they've got. But they're not really. They're quite conservative in attack because they play Giroud and they try and play also an extra midfielder, right? You know, it's been Matuidi, it was Tolisso in this game pushing up on that left side. But as a result, it means that they are so difficult to beat defensively. I mean, even if nobody else defended and it was just N'Golo Kante, they'd still be difficult to beat. So at the moment, they're almost impossible to get through. They go on to Belgium, and Belgium certainly haven't had the easiest time against them in recent years. Of their last 11 meetings, Belgium have only won 3, whereas France have won 5. They actually haven't played in the World Cup since 1986 in the 3rd place playoff. France won that 4-2 after extra time. Their latest meeting back in 2015, Belgium won 4-3. Fellaini with a brace for the purists.
If that's not an omen, then I don't know what is.
Yeah, I think this one will be a little bit cagier than that. But it's hard not to back them at the moment. I think they are, if they want to attack, they are as good as Belgium in attack, and they are certainly superior in defence.
Yeah.
So
I'm inclined to agree.
Unless something happens like it did in the Brazil game, where you know, like Kevin De Bruyne just bangs one in from 25 yards out, and there's nothing you can really do about that. I kind of think that France should just slide through this one.
Yeah.
They're my favourites for the World Cup now.
Yeah, I think it's hard to disagree, really, just purely based on their all-round strength. They've got so many match winners in that team.
Yeah, I mean, it would be sick if England won the World Cup though, because nobody would be at work for a week. That'd be great. I will definitely not come in.
So our final losers are, of course, the hosts. Heartbreak in Moscow. Don't know if that's where the game was actually played, but there were people watching in Moscow, so they were heartbroken.
Definitely.
But why were they heartbroken, Pato?
Well, it kind of looked like they were going to beat Croatia and go through to the semi. They took an early lead through an absolutely outrageous Cheryshev goal. He's just punted it, and it's so good. Subasic has got the best seat in the house to watch it go in the top corner. Anyway,
I actually thought it was disallowed for some reason because everyone
stood
so still. I was like, did that actually happen?
But it went so fast into the back of the net. But anyway, Croatia managed to get back on level terms, then took the lead in extra time before Fernandez nodded one in to make it 2-2. He went on to miss a penalty in the shootout, and even Rakitic, who scored the winning pen against Denmark, did it again this time to knock out the Russians. Tears all around. Put it straight in my veins. It was absolutely fantastic. Anyway, it was his 4th goal of the competition, one every 76 minutes. Only Kane has scored more goals at the tournament so far. Unlikely hero at the World Cup because his career's kind of stalled a little bit. He's now 27, though he came through the Real Madrid Academy. He's still playing for Villarreal. He's only scored 15 goals over the last 7 seasons, and he's banged 4 at the World Cup. What a bloke. Artem Zhuba as well was very, very good. 29-year-old Zenit striker. Been involved in 5 of Russia's 11 goals at the tournament with 3 goals, 2 assists. Weirdly, Russia actually need to work on their defending from set pieces. Now, I think of them as a kind of aerially dominant side. You know, like a team of big guys. They've got really immobile old centre-backs, which normally means guys who are great in the air. But 14 of 20 goals they've conceded at World Cups have come via set pieces. 6 of 7 in this edition. Unbelievable.
That is bad. That was very bad.
I don't know how that's really possible, but anyway, shootout seemed inevitable really. Only one of the last 6 World Cup matches to go to extra time has not ended in penalties. Which one was that?
Don't know.
Germany versus Argentina, 2014 World Cup final.
Oh, of course.
Amazing goal from Mario Götze. There you go. Facts. So, McCubs, I want you to wrap up Russia, and then can you tell us a little bit about Croatia, please? Because we do need to give them some credit, don't we?
We do, definitely. Well worthy of going through. But Russia definitely gave them a run for their money. Despite ceding the majority of possession, Croatia actually had 65%.
Yowza.
The Russians created plenty of chances. 13 shots versus Croatia's 18, and 5 on target to Croatia's measly 3 from their 18 shots. And maybe that's a bit of a sign of the tournament. Like possession hasn't seemed to really have counted in a lot of the results.
Sure.
Which I think was actually picked up on by one of the FD fans last week. But back to Russia, their best player probably was Mario Fernandes at right back. He's been one of the key players for them at this tournament. He won 5 aerial duels, won 5 tackles, had 1 shot, and obviously that 1 shot went in as well. Unfortunate in the penalty shootout, but that is the nature of the game, isn't it? But Croatia, yeah, very worthy winners. They became only the second team after Argentina in 1990 to win 2 penalty shootouts in 1 World Cup, and are now into their second ever semi-final. Obviously their first one coming back in 1998. So very impressive stuff from them, especially considering that they've only competed as Croatia since 1998.
Yeah.
And in that time, I'm sure they haven't made. I'm sure they surely wouldn't have made at least one of those World Cups in that time. And Modric, after the game, spoke about how they've been unlucky in previous tournaments. Obviously, Euro 2016 springs to mind when they were excellent, but unfortunately lost to Portugal after extra time. So yeah, really impressive record from them. And Modric was the man of the match. 87% pass accuracy, 3 shots, 8 dribbles, 2 tackles, and 1 assist. Also, shout out to Dejan Lovren at the back, won 3 tackles and interceptions, 1 shot, and 10 aerial duels won. Ooh. So a real rock solid performance from him at the back, despite conceding that late Mario Fernandes headed goal. Not great defending from the set piece there. But we all know who's up next for Croatia. They've met England 5 times competitively and won 2 and lost 3. So very even matchup for those guys. I'm not sure when the last time they would have met. It might have been when Theo Walcott scored that hat-trick.
Okay.
That 4-1 victory in 2009. I can't think of a meeting since then.
There was the qualifying match for World Cup 2010 where England beat them 5-1. Gerrard scored, Lampard scored, Rooney scored.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
I don't know.
4-1 and 5-1.
That was kind of before this golden generation had really kicked off, I guess.
For sure, yeah.
So I mean, it's gonna be a totally different prospect from what England have faced so far. You know, midfield dribblers, some wide talent like the fullbacks. If those wingers can get in behind the high wing backs, it could be quite a difficult game.
Yeah, I think so as well, and I think it's the first game that England will go into knowing that they will almost certainly be dominated in terms of possession. I think obviously it will take a lot for England to win the midfield battle. They're going to have to find other ways of getting in behind the Croatia defence. So yeah, I fully expect to see a lot more long balls from the England boys. And yeah, Modric, if he's on top form, will be really difficult to keep quiet.
So is your prediction for the final France, England?
I'm gonna say that. I think Croatia have maybe going against them a bit of fatigue. Obviously, they've got 2 penalties now. Obviously, psychological advantage though of having won 2 penalty shootouts. But England just look really confident right now.
Yeah.
They most confident I've seen them in so long, and I don't know, just got to believe in it. Finally, I'm believing.
Still believe.
Yeah.
The jewels remain still gleaming.
Yeah, mate. I was actually singing that out in the pub on purpose. Jewels remain still gleaming. It was great.
So that's all we've got time for on this week's World Cup review. Not too many of these left now. What should people be looking for on EFD this week, McCubs?
Well, they should go to Stat Wars, where I believe it was you versus Chris.
It was.
Bit of a break from the champions. Obviously, your loss to Bobby Seagull. How did you respond?
Poorly.
Okay.
Badly.
Well, there you go. And also go over to FDFC this week. I'm not sure when it's dropping yet, but the latest edition of non-league vlogs will be going out. It's a very special one because it's looking at the other World Cup, which actually happened in London this year. I won't give anything more away, but yeah, that was really good fun. And also, why not check out the live stream of the Sweden match? You were in it, Pat, weren't you?
I was on it.
How was it chilling with Darren Bent?
It was pretty good. He's a pretty nice guy.
Yeah, sweet. There you go.
Hates you, Rick.
Really?
Yeah.
No, anyway, yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time. Thanks for watching.